Guys, welcome back to the cold garage. It's freezing here now. Welcome back to Hood Rich Racing. I'm gonna make a video on pretty much the progress we made on the car, just a little update, and what still needs to be done. Probably in a couple of months the car will be tuned. I'm hoping, cross my fingers. So yeah, let's go over the car and see what we got done on it in the past couple weeks. So one of the biggest things we did to the car in the past couple weeks was we wired in all the gauges. We got oil pressure gauge, boost gauge, and air fuel ratio. And yeah, I'm gonna show you guys real quick. It's pretty much the only thing I was able to do, and I took a long time because I'm pretty OCD and I had to solder a bunch of stuff and make the wiring look good and try to use as much as the OEM wire as possible for like my switch sources and all that stuff. Let me show you guys the gauges real quick. So yeah, it's pretty dark, but it'll give you guys a good little view of the gauges once they light up. So there we go. So yeah, we have decided to use the AM boost and air fuel ratio gauge, and I like the glow shift gauges. They're, in my opinion, like they feel a little more I don't know, I kind of like the way they're constructed. It's like almost like a weird, nice quality plastic on the gauge. The AM stuff feels kind of on the cheaper end, but they're not. You know, they're not cheaper. I think they're actually, especially the wideband and stuff is made. It's probably one of the best out there. The glow shift one had like this weird little box module thing that came with it that this goes to, and to me it didn't make much sense to have more stuff cluttering under my dash and all that stuff. So yeah, those are the gauges. And one more thing, as I mentioned, obviously we're going to be making a some kind of gauge panel or like a sheet metal, like a piece to hold all my gauges, because they're not, you know, they're not fastened. And if you can see, it's pretty dark, but there's like holes in the dash where I had rivets for the nitrous plate. But we're gonna be using that plate that I made for my nitrous switches as a stencil to make a whole new plate, and we're gonna drill 2 1/8 holes in the plate and mount these gauges on them. So yeah, that'll be one of the next things I do. Now keep in mind, I don't do this YouTube stuff like full time. I've got a job, so like it's really hard for me to get out here, film everything. It's also really hard for me to get out here and do a lot to the car, and I don't really have a whole lot of time, and with my OCD things just take a lot longer. Anyway, with that said, give you guys a little update on the car. You know, what needs to be done as of right now, what I can do with the parts I have available, and we'll be getting a little more stuff for the car and finishing up, hopefully. Really want to get it running soon. Supposed to plan on having it running by now, but you know, with all the money being tight for Christmas and all that stuff, is not going to happen. But really close, super close. The most expensive thing I need is the catch can lines and idler control valve, and everything else is just fluids. Get those things, we'll be ready to start the car, and the only things I need is a tune, and I can start racing. Finally. It's been about 1.5 years, so I'm really ready to drive this car, trust me. As far as the engine bay goes, we just need to run some vacuum lines. I'll run that solenoid to the boost gauge, which I'm going to put inside on the other side of the firewall inside the car. Originally, I was going to run a vacuum block, just a little 6-port vacuum manifold with 1/8 inch NPTs on them. So I was going to put my solenoid on here, but I kind of just scrapped the whole idea because I couldn't find a spot that will look good. You know, I don't want to put an engine bay. I wanted to put it originally under the dash somewhere and run my reference from the original PCV fitting on the intake manifold, but couldn't find a good spot for it, so we're just going to do it, you know, the way that they intended to run this thing, kind of, sort of. We're going to run it behind the firewall still, kind of get out of the way, because it is kind of a bulky brass fitting. As far as the other vacuum reference we need to run, it's kind of overkill, but we're running from the PCV, follow that, and we're going to run it to my blow-off valve. So found a perfect size line forgot what it was, I think like 3/8, but it seems to stay on this really well. I'm gonna be obviously hose clamping this, and I was able to stretch it over that. Worst case scenario, you know, we'll just we'll lose the vacuum line, it'll crack or something, which I highly doubt is gonna happen. This feels like pretty good stuff. All right, so we got all the wiring all neat, tucked up. God, if you work on cars, start doing some leg workouts and some core workouts. That will help you get under the dash. Because holy shit, I did so much under the dash. I'll show you guys right now. It's tough. All right, first thing I want to show you, since I got the light set up here and I'm already in the car basically laying under the dash. So there's my 14 volt relay to my fuel pump. It's gonna be hard to see, but I went in and tucked my wideband wire, which is coming in with the oil pressure sensor wire. I went ahead and tucked it up there, and I got those cool zip ties. I'll show you guys exactly how to use them. Not how to use them, but like exactly what they are. Got them at Home Depot, where you can zip tie stuff and you can fasten them up through whatever you need to fasten them up through. As you can see, I used a sheet metal screw, self-tapper, just tucked everything up there so it will never fall down on you. Roll it up nice, and I ran, there's that right there, somewhere up there. Yeah, zip tied those together. Don't be scared to use zip ties and wire, and that's what they're for. So all these zip ties are, got the 8-inch mounting cable ties, so you can secure bundles to walls. UV resistant, sweet. You know, it's kind of at Home Depot, they're like $4, I think. But you can, you know, in my case, use a self-tapper and fasten it against the firewall, against anything in the engine bay. And you can also zip tie some wires up, and your cables can be mounted wherever you want them. Because you guys know the struggle of finding something to wrap the zip tie around when you're trying to like keep wires up high. But yeah, this is a pretty good solution. So yeah, some people start using zip ties to like hold their doors on. Not really, you know, people don't do that, but they start using zip ties to hold basically their whole car together. It's kind of ghetto to me. I've done it before, but it's just not something, you know. Anyway, zip ties, use them, buy a pack of them, go freaking wild with them, tie your wires up all neat like I did. Now we'll go to the engine bay and I'll show you guys. All right, as far as the engine bay, my O2 sensor comes off the up pipe right there, and here's the wire for it. So I went ahead and I kind of just neatly zip tied it, and I used the self-tapper again on the zip tie along with the fan switch wire, and I went and fastened them, made them look neat. Kind of just goes back there to the firewall. Got the oil feed line all fastened up, all neat, and we got some heat wrap around the drain. You can see it very well. Trying to get good footage. There you go. So it goes to my oil pan, comes up from the turbo. Because it's so close to my turbo manifold, it literally touches it. So got that all wrapped up. I had some extra, put it on the spark plug wire. It's probably not going to stay there, but you know, whatever. Blow off valve was ran. Yeah, everything's coming together. So, and yeah, there it is. All right, so there's our switch, or the sensor for our boost gauge. And you can see I also use those. Once again, use those zip ties to tack it up nice. It's fastened, it's not going anywhere, not in the way. Went ahead and cut that vacuum line as short as possible. It runs to my old cruise control port behind the intake manifold. This is out of the way, won't hit any pedals, and it's not in the engine bay because it's kind of ugly, to be honest, and not very compact. But yeah, so there we go. So that's where the car is at. Get real close. Station fluids, like I said earlier. Oil, charger filler, coolant. I do need catch can lines. And getting real close. Figured I'd update you guys in the car. My whole 13 subscribers. Hopefully it grows. And yeah, so if you guys like the video, you just stumbled across it, and you like to see this car gap. If you guys are interested in, you know, exactly how we went about the build, if you guys are building something similar on your own, or building something similar, and you guys have questions, or you guys want to see, you know, how I did things, go ahead and subscribe and comment and turn on your notifications, because there's a lot more coming. and you guys will get as much information as possible. Yeah, I just want to have some fun with this car, you know, and I want to document everything I do. I like to showcase what I can do with this car. And like I said, I built this motor myself. Kind of trying to prove to myself that I can do it. I've never built a motor and decided to build a sleeve motor, and I don't know if that was wise, but always learning. So if you guys are watching, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notifications, and more stuff for you guys. Thank you.